Good evening. My name is Thurman Greco, and the name of this program is Let's Live with Thurman Greco, and it's coming to you from scenic downtown Woodstock, New York. And I am writing, I'm usually writing more than one book at a time because I don't know why that happens, but I do. But I am writing a book about the tarot. And it's kind of, the books take on their own persona. It's like I'm the transcriber. The story is telling itself. And I've reached a point now with this tarot book where I'm seeing the cards in groups, which is very interesting. And when I do a chapter with a card, I usually try to include a meditation. I don't think I'll have a meditation tonight. If I do, it will be one that I have from memory. But I'm going to focus this evening on the Hermit, which is a really interesting card and one of my favorites because it is an introspective card. It is a card where you're learning, but you're learning about yourself and for yourself. So this is a card which is really working for you. And so I like it. And also that's what we're going to be working on this evening. But we're going to be working on some other things as well. One of the things that I've been constructing a chapter about is the fact that you get a spread, because I don't do like the 3-card spreads. I do the Celtic spread, which gives me a more in detail, in-depth story. And when that happens, I'll be going along and I will all of a sudden realize that I expected a kind of a card. Or even a specific card, because the Celtic spread is telling a story, but there's a card missing. It would, if it were included, be a part of the spread, but it's not there. And why is it not there? So that's very interesting. It happens, so the chapter is going to be about the fact that there are times when you think, okay, this chapter, this book, this page, this card should be this way, and it's not. And the reason it's not is because the character that you would expect to be in this story is not there. And he's not there because if he had a divorce, if it's a man, if it's a spouse, then they've broken up, they've gotten a divorce, or he's moved away, or he's died, or whatever. But the piece that you were expecting, the person has left the story, walked off the stage. It's very interesting. And when that happens, it really does change. It does change the cards themselves. It's a really interesting thing that happens. But tonight we're going to focus on, among other things, the Hermit. The Hermit most often appears in a spread. For me, I interpret it in such a way that the person is seeking some information, usually spiritual in nature. And there are other cards that would have you seeking the same information but in a different way. But with the Hermit, you're going within yourself. You're not necessarily telling your family your problems and trying to figure out what all the family and the neighbors think. You're not necessarily going to a rabbi, priest, or pastor. You're not finding a solution in a TV show or a book. You are instead going to your heart, or you're going to your soul. And so when that happens, you go with the hermit. So you have the hermit. He's walking around on a snowy ground, which is what we have today in Woodstock, and he's carrying a lantern. And the lantern it was painted in such a way that it is a six-sided star. And so that's where a lot of your information is going to come. It's going to surface through this star. The hermit is also carrying a staff. He's got a walking stick. And he walks with gray and white clothing, and he has a white beard. So there's a lot of purity there, but there's not an awful lot of bright colors. This guy is going within himself. And what the story is that you are going within yourself, because the hermit is you. And the answers that you seek are there, because the hermit's carrying them. He's got the light. That's your answer. So when you go to the hermit, you're going to get the response that you're looking for. It may not be the response that you're totally happy with, but it is a solution. And it doesn't, as with all things in the tarot, the answer may not be what you want. It may not be exactly what you want, but as long as it's coming from the hermit, then you know that you can go back within yourself, you can ruminate on this, you can think about it, pray on it, meditate on it, and clarify it for yourself, which is a really, really spiritual way of solving your problem, or of learning the answer that you're looking for. And it's peaceful, it's calm, it's not an awful lot of theatrics. It's really nice. And you know, when you go to the Hierophant, you also can go to the Hierophant with the same question. And when you go to the Hierophant, you've got a person who is deeply connected to the status quo, and who is deeply connected to the corporate culture of whatever the spiritual system is that the person is working with. And this guy is you, and this is you working with your own spiritual system. And you may come out with the answer with a new spiritual system. You may come out having discovered things about yourself that you didn't even realize, but you went into yourself and you found the answers yourself. So when you think about the hermit, you can really think about you. This card focuses on you. And you know that in the tarot, a lot of the cards, I would say all of them, have some sort of a facet which is interested in you, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's only about you, because these cards, they're social in a way, and they involve a lot of peripheral information. They also involve searching, because the cards do, tarot is a way of searching. But it is, and it's interesting that tarot is very threatening to a lot of people. And I find that fascinating, because when you go to the tarot, you've got Archangel Gabriel, you've got Archangel Raphael, Archangel, and you've got a selection of archangels. And not only do you have these archangels, but you've got also cards that make reference to the Bible through Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So there's a lot here beyond the cards. And when people say, oh, I don't do the tarot, I am a Christian. Well, That's okay. I don't have any problems with that. Here's the judgment card. Here's the lover's card. Here are the different cards. So we can go with, the cards are adaptable to your personality and to your situation, and you can work very well with them. I'm going to use some examples now of different cards and how they attach themselves to the story. We have a couple of cards that I find to be life-changing. We have several cards that are life-changing. One of them is the Two of Swords, and the Two of Swords shows this woman who is blindfolded, and she is seated on a bench, and she's on a beach, and she's got a dilemma. And I tell the people that this is a card which will change your life. Because if you look at this card, if you get this card in your spread and you're working with this card, it has an opportunity for you to solve a problem that you couldn't solve any other way. And the wisdom here is that when you get this card, you need to look at your problem and see it for what it is. Now that's a toughie. Listen, in today's world, seeing anything for what it is, that's a toughie. But that's what this card does. It says, look at this, see your problem for what it is. Lay down your swords, reach up, take off the bandana, look around you, and see what your options are. Because once you see the problem for what it is, you will see options. And if you do not see options, then what you do is you just get up and walk away, because this lady is not tied down. You are not tied down. So this is a real eye-opening, life-changing card. And that is the Two of Swords. It also surfaces in another situation on the Eight of Swords. It's really a very similar situation, although it seems to be more dire, and the person who gets this card is probably kind of depressed, kind of wondering, am I ever going to get loose from this? And the answer is yes, you will. If you'll look at this problem, if you'll see it for what it is, take the bandana off, untie those ribbons, look at this problem for what it is, and if you don't, you can always walk away. And of course, a lot of people do not see walking away as an option, but it definitely is. So we have another situation here. These cards have been showing up pretty often in the last few months. I call these, I ask people, are you having trouble sleeping? These are actually bad dreams and nightmares. But people don't like to admit that they're having bad dreams and nightmares. They'll fess up to not sleeping really good. But the nightmares and the bad dreams, that's something else. But you've got two different cards. So you have one that is a certain level, and then you have another one which is a shade darker. Less sleep, more nightmares, and your attitude toward your bad dreams and your nightmares has progressed. Because in this card, which is it's not the advanced case that this one is, you can see, there's the neighborhood, there's the person's community is there, embroidered on that quilt. So a lot of people are having these cards. These cards are showing up a lot in the last few months. And then this card is a very mild version. This card is telling you rest, get a massage, give yourself some Reiki, calm down, and allow yourself to go back to sleep. So, and then we have some other cards that I think are really interesting. I have the cups. The cups are emotional, and I have a series of 3 cups. I have the 2 of cups, which is where you're coming upon a situation that is brand new. The 2 of cups is a moment in time. A two of cups is where you meet someone, and you know when you meet that someone that something in your life has changed. This is a significant card. This is a game-changing card. And this card shows up, and then several months later, although it may show up in the same spread, is the 3. And the 3 says, this was the start of something new. This was fabulous. I got excited. I'm looking forward to it. And this is getting better. So this is a progression that is very positive. And then this is things calming down a bit and moving forward. So these 3 cards are very, very positive. And we have over here also, now this is the emotion, these are the emotional cards. These cards, the wands, are generally, I suggest to people that these are your career cards, because this is the energy that you put into your job. And usually you start off, not that you start off, you can have this 3 without having had the 2. But numerically, you've got the 2 of wands first, which is an opportunity, and it's something that's happening. And then you've got the 3, and that's where the energy really builds, because this card has a lot more energy attached to it than the 2. And both of these are very positive cards, but they are also cards that represent change, moving forward, and enjoying yourself. And then, of course, this 4 of wands is this is a celebration. This is a wonderful card. So you start off with the 2, you progress to the 3, and then when you finally get to the 4 of wands, you have a party, you enjoy, and it does involve different people, more people. These 2 cards are you. They're more of you, yourself, the inner person. And then this is more of your family, more of your community. So you can see that some of these cards reveal themselves in different ways than other cards reveal themselves. I know, and also I want, while I have these cards out here, I'd like to talk to you about colors. Colors are important to this tarot deck. This is the Rider-Waite deck. This is the basic tarot deck. This has been around for a long time, and the colors represent a lot of the emotions, and that's interesting because here is the Hermit. You're going within yourself, and you have this dark card. You don't have an awful lot of color. And then in these cards, you've got a lot of red. Red shows up in many different ways, but it represents the energy of the card. And one of the other cards, we have another card here. This is an interesting card. The moon is an interesting card because when you get the moon, all of a sudden in your life, you're wondering, well, what is really happening? What is really happening? That's the basic story of the moon. And I'm going to return now to the Hermit. When I think of this card, I speak about this card in a different way. I've been talking about these cards, Now, when I talk about this, the hermit is you. This is you. This is you seeking the truth. And this is you going within yourself to find the answers for you. So that's what this is. This is really you, as opposed to the other cards, which are telling a story about you, but they don't have this attachment to your inner soul as they would. And this is the Chariot. Now we see, for example, in the nightmares, you see a lot of red. In Justice, you see a lot of red. And in this card, you see very little red. And the Chariot is he's a finisher. You experience the Chariot when you need to get something done and you're not sure that you have the energy. And all of a sudden, if you do a spread, you find out, oh, there's the Chariot. The Chariot gives you the energy and sticks with you until the end of the story, which is really, really nice. The Chariot got me through a semester in college one time. So that's the kind of thing where you just ask yourself, I just don't think I can do this. I don't think I have the energy for this. And you do. You just call upon the Chariot. And this is an interesting card, because this is the Six of Swords, and this represents going to a new place. Now, we have, in these swords, we have reaching a decision, coming to a decision. You have two cards that help you. Over here, we have other swords that help you come to a decision. With the cups, you have this series of three. But with this card, this is really unique in the deck, because this is the card that is going to take you to new places. It's going to take you to new places mentally, new places physically, new places emotionally. This card represents the change. And so the Hermit represents change, but the Hermit seeks the truth. This card represents change because you're going to change your attitude. You're going to change your location. You're going to change the direction you're moving in. You're going to change your inner thoughts. Whereas the Hermit is going to find truth. And you know, there's another card in the deck that seeks truth, and that's Justice. And in our country, in the legal system, the justice is blindfolded. In this card, she's got her eyes wide open and she's looking around and she is seeing things for what they are. So this is seeking the truth, but seeking it in a different way. So one of the things that the tarot recognizes is that as we journey through life, we go in different paths and we approach our destinies in different ways. And that's where Jung came in, because he came up, he saw this, he really did. So if you're interested in that facet of the tarot, you may want to read what he has to say. And in the tarot, we have things that help us reach decisions, that help us come to our destiny, and that help us get us where we're going. And sometimes when we're trying to get where we're going, especially early in the game, as in this Two of Pentacles, there is so much going on and you haven't quite defined it. It's just, the two has not quite defined it. And whereas if you move along a few numbers, then you've got the pentacles, and you've got more pentacles, and you are approaching your destiny in a different way. So I believe that's it for the evening, and I want to thank you so much for spending time with the tarot, and I hope that you will meet me at Mowers Meadow in the summer, or if you'd like to have an appointment or a class in the winter, that you can call me up or send me an email, and we will arrange to have either a class or a tarot spread, because every time I have a class there's a tarot spread that goes with it, that's for sure. You can't, it's hard to teach the tarot without having a spread of cards. And I thank you once again for your attention and your patience, and you have a wonderful evening. And thank you so much, Ellen. I really appreciate it. You've been most adaptable this evening.